Can I ask you something honestly? If you are somewhere between 46 and 61 right now, how many times in the last 10 years has someone told you, just wait it out, the boomers will retire, the job market will open up, you will get your turn? I have heard that line so many times, I kind of cringe when it comes up now because it sounds reasonable, it sounds patient, it sounds like the responsible adult thing to do. But I want to walk through what is actually happening. And then you tell me if wait it out still feels like a plan. PwC ran a study recently on Gen X. The numbers are not small. About half of Gen X is already delaying retirement. That is not a guess. That is people who had a date in their head and quietly moved it. Only 38% think they can retire on the timeline they originally planned. So, roughly 6 out of 10 of you are looking at the calendar and the bank balance and saying, I do not see how this works. And more than half of Gen X expect to pull money out of retirement accounts early, not because they want to, because the bills do not wait. So let me ask you the question nobody asks out loud. If wait it out was the plan, and half the people running that plan are already off script, is it still the plan? I don't think it is. The career playbook your parents handed you was built for a different world. It assumed the boss would retire at 65, that pensions still meant something, that one income could carry a household, that loyalty got rewarded, that real estate only went up, and that healthcare did not eat a third of the budget. You and I both know that world does not exist anymore. So tonight I want to do something different. I want to take that whole wait it out idea, walk it out into the light, and replace it with something that actually works in the world we are living in. Please stay with me. Here's the part I want you to really hear. Most of you right now already have a CPA. You probably have a bookkeeper. You may have a financial advisor. Some of you have an attorney who drafted some documents about 10 years ago and you have not looked at them since. So, why does the math still not work? Because every one of those people is looking backwards. Your CPA reconciles last year, your bookkeeper records what already happened, your financial advisor manages the portfolio that was set up under assumptions that may not be true anymore. Your attorney drafted documents for the family you used to have, not the one you have now. Nobody on that team is sitting across from you tomorrow morning saying, here is what your next 10 years actually look like. And here is where the money is quietly leaking. That is the gap. We call it compliance versus clarity. Compliance is filing. Clarity is forward looking. Compliance keeps the IRS off your back. Clarity keeps your retirement on your timeline. And the real cost of that gap is the quiet 10 to 20% of your gross income that is leaking out of your life every year and nobody is flagging it. Tax inefficiency, insurance that is overpriced or wrong, debt structured in a way that costs you twice, investment fees you cannot see on a statement, business owner draws structured the way someone set them up in 2012 and never revisited. Multiply that leak by 15 years, and you do not need to ask why retirement keeps moving. You already paid for it. You just paid for it in the wrong direction. Here is the trade I want you to hear. A small amount of structure and coordination now is the thing that protects the next 20 years of your working life. It is not glamorous. It does not make a great social post, but it is the difference between you choosing when you stop working and the calendar choosing for you. So let me give you the moves we actually use with Gen X clients when they finally get tired of waiting it out and decide to take their economic life back. Here's 5 moves, and none of them require you to gamble. Move 1, stop assuming the plan still works. I want you to do something this week that almost nobody does. Take whatever retirement plan you have in your head or in a folder somewhere and ask one honest question. When was the last time anyone stress tested it against the world we are living in right now? Not the world of 1998, not the world your parents retired into, the world where rates moved, healthcare costs moved, your industry got disrupted, your kids cost more than you thought, and your parents are starting to need help too. If the plan has not been tested against that world, it is not a plan, it is a hope. I tell people a plan is something that survives a bad year. A hope is something that only works if everything goes right. You need a plan. Move two. Find the leak before you chase the upside. I see this all the time. Somebody in their 50s suddenly gets nervous about retirement, and the first instinct is to swing for the fences, a riskier investment, a side business that needs capital, a tax strategy somebody pitched at a dinner. Slow down. Before you try to grow faster, you patch the leak because every dollar that is leaking right now is a dollar you do not have to earn twice. What does a leak look like? It looks like an old whole life policy you have been paying on for 20 years that nobody has reviewed. It looks like a small business owner taking a salary structured the way someone told them to do it a decade ago. It looks like three different retirement accounts at three different brokerages with three different fee structures and nobody adding it up. It looks like a tax return that misses something every single year because the CPA is filing, not advising. You do not have to find every leak today. You just have to start finding them. One leak plugged is one less reason your retirement date keeps moving. That is move two. Move three, protect the income before you grow the income. Here's a question I ask Gen X clients all the time. If you could not work for the next 90 days, what happens? Most people pause, then they kind of laugh because the honest answer is it gets ugly fast. So before we talk about retirement at all, we make sure the engine that funds the retirement, which is your income and your business, is actually protected. That means a real look at disability coverage, not the cheap version your employer threw in, a real look at how your business pays you if you cannot show up, a real look at whether your spouse and your kids are protected if something happens to you, and a real look at the emergency reserve so a single bad month does not force you to pull from the retirement account at the worst possible time. This is the move that the financial industry skips because protection does not pay them well. So you have to ask for it. Protection first, growth second. That order matters. Move four, reorganize the structure before you change the strategy. A lot of Gen X clients come in convinced they need to pick better investments or find a better tax shelter or chase a higher return. Almost always, that is not the real problem. The real problem is that the structure underneath the money was built one decision at a time over 20 or 30 years by different people with different assumptions, none of whom were talking to each other. You have a bank account from the 90s, a 401k from a job you left in 2007, a Roth that someone opened for you, a brokerage account a friend convinced you to start, a couple of insurance policies, a business entity that was set up before the last tax law change, maybe a rental property, and a will that names a guardian for kids who are now in college. That is not a strategy. That is an attic. Before you change what you are invested in, you reorganize the structure so the money you already have is actually working together, not in seven different directions. Most people I sit with gain more in the first year from coordinating what they already have than they do from any new investment they could pick. That is move four. Move five, pick a date and run the math backwards. This is the one almost nobody does. Pick the date you actually want to stop having to work for money, not because you have to, because you want to. Maybe it is 62, maybe it is 67, maybe it is I never fully stop, I just stop having to. Then run the math backwards from that date. What do you need monthly to live the life you actually want, not the life on a glossy retirement brochure? Your life, your house, your kids, your parents, your hobbies. Then look at where you are right now and figure out the gap. Once you see the real gap in real numbers, you stop waiting it out and you start solving it because the gap is almost never as big as the fear and it is almost always smaller than the leaks you have already been ignoring. Why do these 5 moves work? Because they do what nobody else on your team is doing. They give you a forward looking, 1 page picture of your economic life. They put protection before growth, structure before strategy, and clarity before guesswork. That is what we do at Personal Economic Coach. And we sit on your side of the table. We coordinate everything you already have. We find the quiet leaks. We help you build a plan that survives a bad year. And we hand you back the part of your life that the waited out story took from you. So here is my one ask tonight. If anything I just said sounded uncomfortably close to your situation and you are tired of moving the retirement date one more year, call us or send a short note, and we will sit down for a real conversation about your numbers, your timeline, and what a clear 1 page plan would look like for your exact life. No pitch, no pressure, just clarity, because waiting it out is not a plan. It never was. You deserve a real one. This is educational information only. Always consult a qualified professional or call us before making financial decisions. To schedule a conversation, please go to personaleconomiccoach.com and click on schedule to be directed to our calendar. Also, please like and subscribe to our video. It helps us grow. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.